The wine glass felt cold in my hand as I stood near the back wall of my sister Amber's engagement party, watching her work the room like she owned it. Designer heels, freshly dyed auburn hair, that polished smile she'd been practicing since middle school. "Wow, Claire actually made it," she called out loud enough for every single one of her 50 guests to hear, waving her glass toward me like I was a curiosity at a museum. "Everybody look, my little sister finally showed up." The whole room turned. I kept my expression steady, the same calm face I wore in board meetings when someone tried to size me up and got it wrong. "Still no boyfriend, still going nowhere," Amber went on, voice dripping with fake concern. 27 and nothing to show for it. But you know what? At least she never changes, right? Some people hit their peak early. Some people never hit it at all. The laughter that rolled through the room landed like small cuts. I saw people I had known my whole life, aunts, cousins, family friends, smiling along with her little performance. This was Amber's go-to move. She built herself up by knocking me down. I was already thinking about slipping out quietly when I noticed her fiancé, Derek, standing completely still beside the drink table. The color had drained from his face. He was staring at me like he'd just seen a ghost. "Wait." His voice cut clean through the laughter. "Hold on. Is that Claire Mercer?" Amber laughed, leaning into him. "Yeah, babe, that's my sad little sister, the one I told you about. Dropped out of school to mess around with software, lives in some tiny apartment, probably surviving on instant noodles." "That's CL Mercer," Derek said, louder now, his voice going up half an octave. Oh my God, she's the founder of my company." The music cut out. Actually cut out. The DJ must have sensed the shift because 1 second there was music, and the next second there was nothing but dead air and 50 people holding their breath. "What?" Amber's laugh came out brittle this time. "Amber," Derek's voice was flat and serious. "Your sister is CL Mercer. She owns Pinnacle Digital. She signs my boss's paycheck. She's the reason I have a job." The champagne glass slipped right out of Amber's hand. It hit the marble floor and exploded in a sharp, ringing crash that seemed to go on forever. I took a slow sip from my glass and stepped forward into the light. "Hey, Derek, glad you could make it tonight. I actually approved your vacation request for this party myself." I paused. "Congratulations on the engagement, by the way." "Miss Mercer, I had no idea you were..." He kept looking back and forth between Amber and me like he was trying to solve a math problem that had no solution. "Her sister, yeah. We keep it quiet. Different last names help." I kept my voice even, like we were discussing quarterly results. "She uses our mom's name. I use our dad's. Makes things cleaner." "She uses a different name because she's ashamed of me," Amber snapped, scrambling to pull herself back together. "This is insane. There is no possible way my deadbeat sister runs a company worth anything." 42 million at last count, I said. "We're projecting close to 90 million once the Amazon partnership closes. You've heard about that one, right, Derek? The West Coast expansion?" Derek looked like he might actually pass out. "The partnership you've been building since Q3? The one that adds 250 jobs?" "That's the one." The room was completely silent. You could hear the ice settling in the glasses. Aunt Donna, who had laughed the loudest when Amber called me a deadbeat, was now looking at me like I'd walked in off a spaceship. "That can't be right," Amber whispered. "You're making this up." "Pull up the Pinnacle Digital website," I said to the room. "Go to the leadership page." Half a dozen phones came out instantly. "Business Insider, top innovators under 30, someone read. Founded the company at 22, valued at 42 million, youngest female tech founder in the region." "Oh my God," someone else murmured. "It's really her." "But you told me you worked at a startup," Amber said, spinning toward me. "I do work at a startup. My startup. The one I built from that tiny apartment on a folding table, eating exactly the instant noodles you just made fun of. The difference between your version and mine is that I turned those noodles into something." The crowd was shifting now, people stepping back from Amber like her blind spot about me might somehow be contagious. Derek hadn't moved. He was standing there doing the math on what this moment meant for him. "How long have you two been together?" I asked. 7 months, Derek said quietly. So you started dating right around the time our Series B closed and made the tread press." I turned to Amber. Did you ever wonder why he always brought the conversation back to your family? Why he asked so many questions about what I did for work? Or were you too busy posting about your tragic sister to notice? The implication hung there between us like smoke. That's not fair, Derek said, his voice rising. I didn't even know you two were related when we first met. You didn't notice the framed photos she keeps, or used to keep, around her apartment? You didn't think it was strange that she never once invited you to meet me? Never mentioned where I actually work? Never suggested we all get dinner? I let that sit for a second. Check his LinkedIn profile, Amber. I'd be curious when he last updated it. Amber picked up her phone with shaking hands. I watched the moment the words hit her. Engaged to Amber Peterson, sister of tech entrepreneur C.L. Mercer, she read in a hollow voice. Updated 3 weeks ago. 3 weeks ago, I repeated, right after the Amazon deal ran in TechCrunch. What are the odds? Amber, listen to me, I can explain. Derek reached for her arm. She stepped back. Glass crunched under her heels. Explain what exactly? That you knew who my sister was? That you let me humiliate her in front of everyone while you were planning to use our connection? She looked at me, eyes wet. How long has he been messaging you? About 4 months, mostly around vendor contracts, asking if there was a family consideration. I have the messages saved if anyone wants to read them out loud. I held up my phone. You went behind my back, Amber said to him. It was business. Just business, I said. Sure. Dating the sister of someone you want favors from is just business. I glanced around at the phone still recording. Amber's engagement party is going to be all over social media tonight. Just maybe not the way she planned. You knew, Amber said, turning back to me with tears streaking through her foundation. You knew what he was doing and you said nothing. When was I supposed to tell you? At the family dinners I stopped being invited to? At the birthday parties where your group chat went quiet right before mine started getting left out? Amber, we haven't had a real conversation in over 2 years. Every time we're in the same room, I'm the punchline. So no, I didn't go out of my way to protect a relationship I wasn't even allowed to witness. So this is payback. This is what happens when you build things on lies. You lied to him about who I was. He lied to you about why he was interested. You're both getting the truth at the same time tonight. I'm just the reason it's happening now instead of later. I didn't know you owned a company, she said, her voice cracking into something raw and desperate. You never told me. Because you never asked. You were too busy putting together Instagram content about your struggling sister to ever sit down and ask me one real question. Do you know how many times Mom tried to tell you? How many times Dad printed out articles to show you at Sunday dinner? You always had something more important going on. Your new promotion, your brand partnerships, your perfect life. Promotion? Someone in the crowd murmured. I thought she said she was in marketing management. She runs a department at a retail store, I said. Solid work, nothing wrong with it. Unless you've been telling people you're a marketing executive while calling your tech CEO sister a failure. The whisper spread fast. Amber's carefully constructed version of herself was falling apart in front of everyone who had ever believed it. Derek, she said, turning to him one more time, voice pleading. Tell them you love me. Tell them none of this is what it looks like. Derek was already loosening his tie. I need to step outside. I need to think. He looked at me, then at Amber, then at the floor. I'm sorry, Amb. I just can't do this right now. You're leaving? Right now? At our engagement party? He walked toward the door without looking back. What engagement? I said quietly. You think he's staying after this? That ring was a down payment on access. The investment just went sideways. The door shut behind him. Amber stood in the center of the room with mascara running down her face and 50 people watching every second of it. Are you happy? She asked me. You came here and blew everything up. I came here because you invited me. I didn't blow anything up. I just stood in the room. You're the one who pointed at me and started the show. I picked up my bag. For what it's worth, I didn't want tonight to go like this. I came here hoping maybe we could actually be sisters again for a night. Have one conversation that wasn't you performing at my expense, but you couldn't even get through the first 10 minutes. I didn't mean... Look at my sad little sister. Still no boyfriend, still going nowhere. Were those not your exact words? Silence. That's what I thought. I started for the door, then stopped. Oh, one more thing, Amber. Before you spend any more time defending Derek, his real name isn't Derek Cole, it's Derek Winslow. He changed it after he was let go from 2 different firms for misrepresenting his credentials to clients. Our HR team flagged it during onboarding. The gasps were audible. You hired him anyway? Aunt Donna asked. He's competent when he's focused on actual work.
I believe people can change. Turns out he didn't change enough. I looked at Amber one last time. This was never going to last. I just moved up the timeline. I walked out and didn't look back. My car was waiting at the curb, a black SUV. Something else Amber didn't know existed in my life, because she'd never thought to ask. "Eventful night, Miss Mercer?" asked as I got in. "Educational," I said. "Very educational." As we pulled away, I could see guests streaming out the front entrance like they couldn't get to their phones fast enough. By morning, the story would be everywhere. Amber Peterson, the golden child, unmasked at her own engagement party. Claire Mercer, the sad little sister, revealed as the one who'd been winning the whole time. My phone lit up. "Mom, what did you do?" "I showed up to a party I was invited to," I typed back. Not my fault the truth was already there reading. "Mom, your sister is devastated. This isn't who we raised you to be."
We need to sit down together as a family and work through this. I stared at that message for a while. "No," I sent back. "We needed to sit down 3 years ago when Amber started making me the entertainment at every family event. We needed to talk 2 years ago when she told our cousins my new car was suspicious because there was no legitimate explanation. We needed to talk last year when she quietly had me taken off the Christmas guest list because I made things awkward. That was when the conversation needed to happen, not now." I blocked her number. Then my dad's. Then the aunts and uncles who were already triangulating, deciding which camp to set up in. My company didn't happen because I got lucky. It happened because for 5 years, I chose the work over everything else. I chose late nights over social events. I chose building over belonging. While Amber was curating her image, I was writing code. While she was growing a following, I was growing a balance sheet. The tiny apartment she made fun of for years, I wrote the core of our flagship product at that folding table. The instant noodles, fuel for the all-nighters that eventually turned into breakthroughs. The small, quiet life she painted as proof of my failure was the exact life I needed to build something real inside. She just never looked closely enough to see it. The next morning, my assistant started fielding press calls before 9. Tech CEO's secret identity revealed at sister's engagement party. The story practically wrote itself. I declined every interview. Amber had always wanted the spotlight. Now she had it. Derek's resignation letter arrived by noon. Professionally worded, no mention of what had happened. I approved it and had his badge deactivated before 2. By evening, Amber had posted a long caption on Instagram about toxic family dynamics and people who can't celebrate your joy without making it about them. The comment section turned on her fast. People had done the research. The influencer persona she'd built on family warmth and honest living crumbled in real time. She called me late that night. I almost let it go to voicemail. Curiosity won. "You destroyed everything I had," she said. "I walked into a party. You did the rest. You humiliated me and you humiliated me back. That's what this was. I didn't do anything to humiliate you, Amber. I just didn't disappear the way you needed me to. You think you're better than me. I think we're different. You measure success in likes and carrots. I measure it in what I've built and who it helps. You need an audience. I need a problem to solve. We were never going to make sense to each other. So that's just it? You're done with me? I'm leaving room for you to figure out who you actually are. Maybe without Derek, without the performance, without needing me to be the cautionary tale that makes your story look better. Maybe you find out. I am real. Real people don't need to announce their success by tearing down their sister. Real people don't let their partner quietly exploit their family. Real people don't confuse cruelty for confidence." She hung up. That was 7 months ago. Through the family grapevine, I heard she moved back in with our parents, deleted everything, started seeing a therapist twice a week. I hope it's helping. I genuinely do. Growing hurts, but it's the only thing that actually changes anything. Derek filed a wrongful termination claim. My legal team handled it in a single afternoon. Using a false name on your employment application is an immediate grounds for dismissal offense in our state. Case closed. The family split into factions, Team Amber and Team Claire, like we were a reality show. I didn't engage with either side. I was too busy closing the Amazon deal, staffing the new office, and doing what I had always done, proving through results that the people who wrote you off were never paying close enough attention. But some nights, in my actual apartment, a real one, nothing like the studio Amber had been describing to people for years, I think about the moment the music stopped, when Derek looked at me and his face went light, when the crowd turned and really saw us, maybe for the first time, without Amber's framing around us. I don't feel like I won something. I feel like the truth finally caught up to the story. For years, I was the background character in Amber's version of our lives, the warning sign, the comparison that made her look better by contrast, the failure that proved her success was worth celebrating. But I was never her supporting character. I was the main character of my own story, building something real in the margins of the one she was telling about me. She called me sad and going nowhere in front of everyone she knew. Her fiancé called me his boss. The music stopped, the wedding stopped, the lies stopped. And for the first time, everyone in that room saw us exactly as we were. Not the way Amber had been describing us for years, but the plain and simple truth. Amber Peterson, the golden child, tarnished by her own story. And me, the sister she wrote off, who'd been winning quietly the whole time. That's the thing about announcing someone's failure in public. You better be sure they actually failed. Because if they didn't, if they were winning the entire time you were busy mocking them, if they built something real while you were busy performing, then the music stops, the room goes quiet, the truth walks in, and everyone finds out exactly who the real story was about.